Alright, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my round 2 predictions video. Obviously, round 1, for anyone that saw it, did not go well. I think I only got 3 correct. Hopefully, we can fix that up this week and get, I don't know, I'd probably say at least 5, because I reckon there are a couple games this week that could genuinely go either way, depending on circumstances around the teams playing. So I'm hoping for 5 this week. And without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Broncos 28, Rabbitohs 16. Yeah, look, I think this will be a pretty routine win for the Broncos. I just think they have a better squad than the Rabbitohs, to be honest. Their game against the Roosters in Vegas, honestly, they only really lost because of a couple of pieces of Joey Manu brilliance. Like, he set up 2 tries just out of nothing. Right, so I definitely think he'll be the difference maker. Well, sorry, he was the difference maker. And I think that the Broncos will bounce back. I think they'll clean up their errors from the first game. And they'll be able to really build off the back of that. And then the Rabbitohs, I just think, if I'm completely honest, I'll quickly just get this up here for you as well, just so you can see it. Yeah, look, so the reason I've just gone with the scoreline is because the past few times these guys have played, every time there's been a out-and-out winner. It's been by quite a hefty margin. So that's sort of the reason I've gone with the scoreline I have. Yeah, look, obviously form guide, both teams on a loss. Rabbitohs on a bit more of a loss. Pretty even in the key stats. But team lists, I think Jai Arrow is a huge loss for the Rabbitohs. Look, I don't think the people that they have on the bench, at the very least, I think starting lineups, they're pretty even. But I just think come that 25th, 30th minute to 50th, 60th minute, when the bench players are the ones on the field, to put it simple, I just think the Broncos have a stronger bench. So I think they'll be able to help control the game a little bit more than the Rabbitohs bench will. And then also, Latrell has a habit of this, where whenever there is some sort of off-field controversy going on involving him, he can't separate himself from it. So, I'm sure, as you're all aware, there was the Spencer Leniu stuff that happened. Latrell obviously got involved and has been having a back and forth with Anthony Mundine. Look, I know Latrell's publicly stated that he's over it or whatever, or he's moving on, he's going to ignore it from now on, but he has a track record of not being able to ignore it and letting it get to him, and then that stops him from focusing on his football. Alright, so I have a worry for the Rabbitohs that that's going to happen again, and then when Latrell is off, that makes Cody be off, because both of them, as Indigenous boys, they back each other, they support each other. So when Latrell's off the pace because of stuff off the field, normally Cody follows suit. So I think that all that off-field stuff will really just hit him in the back, and it will sort of stop them from being able to attack the way they probably want to. So yeah, look, I think pretty routine Broncos win in this one. Sharks 34, Bulldogs 14. Yeah, look, I think another routine win for the Sharks here. I think Bulldogs' attack is just not good enough, and it'll honestly be a case of last week against Parramatta, where the Bulldogs will defend. Eventually they'll crack, floodgates will open, and I think Sharks will be a bit more clinical than what Parramatta were, and they will just run in tries. All right. Look, quickly get this up for you. Look, last time they've played, the last few times they've played, as I said, Sharks have absolutely decimated them. I think our defense is a little bit better than what it used to be, so that's why I'm only giving Sharks a scoreline of 34. But look, I think Sharks are going to just run rampant in this game. Right? Obviously, Dogs haven't won a game in their last 5 actual NRL games. All right, preseason's a little bit different because teams aren't using their full squads. Sharks won last week, obviously, close game against the Warriors, so they'll be up and ready for this game, especially after versing them. Team lists, honestly, nothing's changed. I believe both teams are using the exact same sides they had last week, except for Dogs. Connor Trace obviously because Addo is out. But other than that, I believe both teams have essentially the same teams they used last week. So yeah, look, I think as unfortunate as it is, I think this is just going to be a very routine Sharks win. I think Nico Hines and Trindle in the halves are just going to absolutely destroy us. I think they're going to just control the game, absolutely rip us to shreds. what's his name, Katoa and Mulatalo on the wing. They're just going to have a field day. So, yeah, a pretty unfortunate routine Sharks win for this one. Panthers 20, Parramatta Eels 16. Now, look, I'm going to be completely honest. The only reason I've put the tip this way is because I don't think Moses is going to be 100%. That is genuinely the only reason why. I think the last three times these teams have versed, here, I'll quickly pop it up. At the very least, the last two, but I think it's the last three, if you exclude the grand final, of course, from 2022. So the last three times these two teams have versed in a regular competition, Eels have won. All right, and that goes back to what I said last week about how Mitch Moses just decides to step up his game against the likes of West Tigers, Bulldogs, and Penrith. But look, I don't think Moses is 100%. I think he's going to try to play like he is, but I just don't think he is. So I think Penrith are going to just sort of edge it out here. Team lists, both teams are running the exact same team that they had last week. Look, I think Penrith are too good to not score points, obviously. Like, look, obviously they had 2 tries disallowed. You know, in my round 1 review, I talked about the Sonny Luke try, which I think should have been a try, but that's a whole other thing. So look, I don't think you're going to keep Penrith to less than, at the very least, less than 10 points. And I think that Eels' defense just isn't strong enough to prevent them from getting enough points to win the game. All right, so look, I think the game is really going to be won in the forward pack. Obviously, you know, people are going to look to the likes of Cleary and Moses to win the game, but I think at most Para Penrith games are won in the forward pack. Usually Regan Campbell-Gillard comes out and absolutely smashes it. I think Leota and Fisher-Harris will be a bit more prepared for him this time. I think Liam Martin's going to absolutely kill it. I think he's going to absolutely destroy Sean Lane. But yeah, look, I think this will probably be game of the round, honestly, especially if Moses is fit. But in my opinion, definitely going to be game of the round, and I think Penrith will just edge it out with a 20-16 win. Raiders 26, Tigers 18. All right. Benji Marshall's first official game as head coach. Obviously, he was assistant coach and in the box, probably doing a lot of stuff last year with what's his name? I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. You all know who I'm talking about. Look, obviously, this will be his first game in charge, and I think I think the Tigers are going to come out firing. I think they're going to play really well, but I think that I think the experience the Raiders have in key areas will just be a bit too much for the Tigers to handle. So I'll quickly flip it over here. Look, obviously, it's always a very close game between these two sides, right? You know, 3 points, 1 point between them. But for me personally, I think the big thing here will be in the spine. Obviously, you got Rapana versus Buller. Buller, incredible player, but it doesn't have the experience that Rapana has. Look, same in the halves. Lachlan Galvin and Jaden Sullivan starting. That's really interesting. They've got Aiden Cesar coming off the bench, which I think might cost them early on. I think they'll be able to grind their way back into the game. But I think starting Cesar off is a real big risk for them. All right, I think Fogarty will be able to just control the game. The likes of Josh Papali, holy shit, I'm so sorry. Josh Papali and Tarpany, Jesus Christ, I cannot talk today. But yeah, Papali and Tarpany will just control the forward pack. Look, obviously, experience in the Tigers' front 3 men, like the big 3. But I don't think the likes of Appy and I don't think Appy will be able to carry them to a win, especially in Benji's first game. I definitely think there will be positive signs for the Tigers. I think this will be a really good game. But yeah, I think just that lack of experience in the halves and in their spine will end up biting Tigers in the bum, essentially, right? Yeah, look, teams are pretty much exactly the same as they were. I think the only difference is Sebastian Chris is back in, I believe. I think that's the only difference for the Raiders, and obviously it's Tigers' first game. But yeah, look, yeah, I think it won't be a routine win. Raiders, I think, will definitely have to work for it. They'll have to grind for it. I think Tigers will really be in for that grind. I think Benji's going to bring back that old school style of rugby league. Well, at least that's at the very least what I'm hoping for, because I reckon that's what he'd be best at. But yeah, look, only time will tell. For Tigers fans' sake, I hope they do well, because they haven't been strong for many years, and as a Bulldogs supporter, I can I can understand the sentiment. I understand how frustrating it can be. So hopefully, for Tigers' sake, they at the very least are competitive and they don't get blown out of the water. But yeah, I think 26-18 scoreline will be what ends it. Cowboys 24, Knights 16. Look, I think this will be a routine win for the Cowboys. Well, not routine, but I think they will win it. Look, the last few times they've versed, I'll quickly bring the stats up. I'll just bring them up straight away. The last few times these teams have versed, Knights have only managed to score 16, so I'm banking on that happening again. Knowing me, it probably won't. Yeah, look, I think Cowboys, even though they only versed a not very strong Dolphins side, really sort of put their foot down and said, hey, we're here to mess you guys up this year. Whereas the Knights, I think they really struggled. I do think the Knights will bounce back a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat the Cowboys. Look, team list, I think it's pretty much identical teams to the ones that started. I don't think there's any major changes to the teams. No. Yeah, see, no major changes, mainly just to the reserves. But yeah, look, I think, no, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, not a routine win for the Cowboys by any means, but I definitely do think the Cowboys will edge this one out, especially at home. Yeah, I think Knights will improve from last week, but I don't think they'll be able to really push on and take the win away from the Cowboys. So, pretty cruisy 24-16 win, in my opinion, for the Cowboys. Storm 28, Warriors 16. Again, I think this one's probably a bit of a routine win for Storm. They obviously were able to keep Penrith to 0. Well, not 0. They had a couple tries disallowed that shouldn't have been disallowed, but whatever. That's But yeah, look, obviously kept them to 0 on the scoreboard. I think Warriors are just a bit too creative and off the cuff for Storm to keep them to 0. Right? Storm have always had an issue with dealing with the more sort of off-the-cuff creative football. They're a very structured team, both in offense and defense. So whenever a team can sort of come at them with something that they don't expect, it does put them off a little bit, and I think that's the Warriors to a T. I think Metcalf will have a really good game. I think Nickel Klukstad will have a really good game. And I think what's his name? Sean Johnson will have a really good game. But I don't think it'll be enough to to shut down the Storm. It's as simple as that. I forgot what I was going to say. Look, I think Munster's still out, isn't he? Yeah, so Munster's still out. I think Pappenhausen will absolutely pop off this game. I think this will be sort of his welcome back game, if you will. I think he's going to absolutely kill it. Nickel Klukstad's out. Well, there you go. I didn't realise he was out. Yeah, there you go. All right, so Nickel Klukstad's out. Look, forward packs. I think the Warriors' forward pack is stronger. So this genuinely could be a game where Warriors win, because on paper, Melbourne are missing quite a few players. Like obviously Munster's out. What's their name? Their other forward. I can't think of his name. Oh gosh, Welsh is off the bench for some reason. I can't think of his name. Their other forward. Their second rower. Oh, whatever. I can't think of it. It's early in the morning. Forgive me. But yeah, look. I think the spine of the Warriors, if they can get firing, then there's no reason Warriors can't win this game. But I do think the structure and the professionalism of the Storm will be a bit too much for the Warriors to handle. I think Warriors will try to push their hand one too many times, make one too many mistakes, and Storm will just capitalize off the back of it. I think it'll be as simple as that. Yeah, look, not routine, but yeah, I think a Storm 28-16 win will be the way that this game goes. Manly 24, Roosters 18. Look, again, similar to the Panthers-Eels game, I think this one could very much be game of the round. I do think Manly will edge it out in the end. But look, this again is just a really... It's just genuinely going to be a really good game of footy. I think Manly last week just showed a little bit more than what the Roosters did. That's just to me. But with that said, Manly's defense was not very strong against a not too great Rabbitohs side. So that is a bit of an area of concern for the Sea Eagles. I'll quickly pop this up here. All right. Obviously, Roosters have a habit of scoring quite a few points against Manly. All right. Their last few outings, they've scored at least, they've got at least 3 tries. I think that'll be the case again today. Not today. It'll be the case again this week. But I think Manly's attack, because I think the only person Manly are losing is Saab, whereas Roosters are losing Leniu. So I think just I think the forward pack and bench of Manly will just be a bit stronger than the Roosters. And then off the back of that, you've got, don't get me wrong, James Tedesco, one of the best fullbacks of all time, but is getting up there a little bit. I think Turbo's going to pop off. I think Luke Brooks will have another really good game. I think Ruben Garrick is going to have a really strong game. Look, again, very much couldn't be a game of the round contender. It could very easily go either way. I just think the attack of Manly will be enough just to edge them over the Roosters, because I think the Roosters' defense isn't completely up to the standard where they want it to be. But with that said, you can also say the same again about Manly. But I just think Manly's attack will just be a little bit sharper than the Roosters, and that'll get Manly over the edge. Dolphins 14, Dragons 28. Look, I think this will be a really good game. I think it'll just be a case of Dragons going strength to strength. I'm not sold on the Dolphins at the moment this year. Not just because they lost last year, but just I don't think their squad's strong enough. It's as simple as that. I really don't. And I think the difference maker will be what the difference maker always is for the Dragons, and that's Ben Hunt. Last week, he was incredible. He absolutely killed it. I think this week he's just going to continue to do the same thing. All right. Last time they versed, Dolphins won, and then, Dragons pumped them the game before. Right. So, you can't really tell based off that who might win. There's not really a history of these guys doing well against each other or bad against each other. But yeah, look, Dragons are going to have the exact same squad that they had on the weekend, I believe. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, no changes to the Dragons. Dolphins, obviously, Avarillo's coming back in, which I'm very excited for. I hope he absolutely kills it since he's an ex-Bulldogs player. I really hope he kills it, because I love Jake Avarillo. I thought he was fantastic. Look, otherwise pretty much the same. But I think the difference maker will just be right here, Ben Hunt. I think him just controlling the game will be the difference maker. All right. Don't get me wrong. Katoa and Nikorima did a decent job last week, but they're just... It genuinely just comes down to experience. They just... When the going sort of gets tough, they don't know how to lead their team around the park in the same way Ben Hunt does. If, say, the first 20 minutes is just a back and forth, Ben Hunt's going to be the one that controls it, not Katoa or Nikorima. It's as simple as that. And I think that's what will be the difference maker. Both forward packs pretty even, in my opinion. No extreme standouts. Thomas Flegler's a good player. Obviously, Kaufusi and all that. Bromwich is a good player. But at the very least, in Bromwich and Kaufusi's case, they are getting a bit older. Blake Lowry is a good player. Francis Molo, however you pronounce it, I apologise. He's a really good player. Obviously, brother Fatala Mariner on the bench as well. Look, I think the Dolphins bench is just a bit too old. Whereas the Dragons bench is just a bit younger, a bit fitter, probably a bit more hungry. So I think the bench will really play an impact. And once that bench swap happens and Ben Hunt is able to just take control against those tired legs, it'll be game over for the Dragons. Sorry, not for the Dragons. It'll be game over for the Dolphins. So yeah, not routine, but I do think a pretty comfortable Dragons win in this one. Alright, but with that one said, guys, that is my round 2 predictions for NRL 2024. Look, If you're planning on using my predictions for your tips, make sure you do the exact opposite of what I say, because whenever I make a tip or whenever I do something like this, it always goes the opposite way. So, congratulations to, Rabbitohs, Dogs, Eels, Tigers on their wins this week, right? But yeah, look, so this video will probably be out Thursday afternoon, just before the kickoff of the Broncos Rabbitohs game. I will be getting to the fields on Friday, so if there's anything in particular you want me to do, like when in terms of like maybe goal kicking, field goals, crossbar challenges, maybe even a 40-20 challenge or something like that, I don't know. Look, let me know in the comments below, because I do have Friday off, so I will be able to get down to the fields and do a couple different little things to sort of prepare some videos for the next couple days. All right, but yeah, until the next one, guys, take it easy. Have a good one.